I'm Matt Thompson. I'm a manager of digital and editorial things at NPR. We now have media as this layer that is in every crevice of our lives. And that means that we need to shift how we do storytelling, how we fit into people's days, literally. It used to be where you'd read your morning newspaper and then you'd come home and you'd watch the evening news with your family. But now folks are increasingly accessing media as a layer on every moment of their lives. And it means a lot of changes in how we approach storytelling and reporting. I think there's been an increasing realization that a lot of times we deliver the news without the context necessary to understand the news. I often say that there are 4 key parts to news stories, and we only give you one of them. So the part of a news story, every news story that you get, is what just happened. But the parts that you miss are the long-standing facts, the structural foundation of an issue that doesn't change all that much from day to day, but is really important to understand so you can make sense of the headlines. We also don't often give you a sense of how we know what we know, how the rigor that we go through in our reporting in both finding and prosecuting the facts that we include in our journalism so you can weigh that evidence for yourself. And lastly, the thing that we don't give you is what we don't know yet. Very often, we're uncertain about a lot of things and we don't include that information in our stories. So I think the most overrated idea is this notion that the news is the only thing that journalism requires and is good for. I would say we're in the middle right now of an incredible shift towards mobile devices as being ubiquitous. I mean, folks are still using laptops, they're still using desktops, and of course, tablets and other new forms are being brought into our lives every day. But this new move towards mobile environments, mobile contexts being where people encounter a large amount of their media, from the music that they listen to, in some cases, the television that they watch, that is a huge shift that we're still grappling with and still trying to figure out how it's going to shape our world ultimately. I would say over the next 5 years, the thing that I think is going to change the most in our universe is this increasing collapse between what we think of as technology and what we think of as media. One of the surprising facts that even surprises journalists when they hear it is the fact that if you look at the website that has more visitors for news than CNN, more visitors for sports than ESPN, and more visitors for finance than the Wall Street Journal, it's Yahoo, which we think of still as a tech company. AOL employs several hundred journalists, by some counts more than 1,000. This shift inside the media industry means that we increasingly employ not just classic reporters, storytellers who work in words or even work in pictures, but we're also employing journalists who are technologists, who work in data, who create apps. That's been a huge shift for our industry that we're still trying to grapple with as we sit now right alongside technology companies who are themselves starting to make media. I think the fact of media as something that's everywhere, there's a bathroom scale. There are bathroom scales now that when you step on them, they record your weight over time, and you can turn later to your iPad or to your laptop computer, and you can see visualizations of your weight and your BMI. And what this means in practical terms is that your bathroom scale now has an interface. When I think about huge changes in media coming down the pike, there's this notion that increasingly everything has an interface. We think about a lot of folks in my world talk about the Internet of Things, or everywhere. This idea that we are now beginning to collect data, ambient data about our world from all different quarters. And this ambient data, this big data that you may have heard a lot about, that surfeit, that flood of information about everything from air quality to temperature to our weight, as I mentioned, that processing through that data is going to tell us things about how our world operates that we haven't even begun to know.